Hi, so hundreds and thousands of students line up outside of high schools every year around the country to take a standardized test that may or may not even get them into college. So today I will be trying to persuade you as to why these tests do much more harm than good on the students affected by these every year. So while they might get you into college, standardized tests cause, like I already said, more harm than good to the students. And I will be discussing how the pressure affects them in their social, academic, and everyday lives, and how they might not even affect their college applications down the road. So to begin, I will talk about how standardized tests add much too much stress to the child. And so when students are focused on scoring well on their tests, they're not regarding any of their other academic obligations. So by studying too much for one SAT, they're not even applying any application to any of their other courses, such as math, history, science, even arts, or whatever else they're taking, which severely damages their grades later on down the road, which is also a very large factor that colleges look at whenever you're applying. And so, with that being said, these tests don't even accurately measure academic success. Since they're just state-mandated tests, they have no way of measuring application and what a student has learned over their academic careers, if you will. And so, let's go to the next slide, So, standardized tests measure the capability of a student to pass a test, not apply their knowledge on what they've learned. So, as Melissa King states in an essay on the topic, these tests only measure student proficiency at the time of testing. Even students who have improved over the school year can fail to score as proficient. So what that's saying is, while these students have learned much more than just what they're going to be tested on, even if you have great grades, that's no validation that you will pass a test or do well, or even a college will look at it. And so if you have better grades, those are probably more likely to get you in than your terrible 980 SAT score. Along with this, these tests take away from other important areas of studies, such as art. So I talked about this a little bit earlier, but colleges care too much about scores and too little about other aspects, about students' social progress. So as Melissa Kirsch explains, a student who's participated actively in sports or a leader in class discussions could be just as likely to excel once they get to college as one with superior grades. So what I think this is saying is that colleges are not only looking at your SAT scores, they're also looking at what you did for extracurriculars. And so if you have somebody who took 12 SAT prep scores, that's going to be far less overwhelming than somebody who was the captain of the cheerleading squad, the debate team leader, student class president, was very active in their academic careers as well as outside school extracurricular activities. And so these tests put so much stress on students, and they're disregarding everything else that could even get them into a college. So I feel like these teachers are emphasizing these tests too much and kind of taking away the importance and stress of other things that are also very important to getting into college, such as essays, which they should be learning how to write and gaining experience to write and doing all these things that are not just studying math problems, if that makes sense. And so studies have shown that when students are deprived of social experiences and don't fully develop outside of their academic focus, they tend to have more severe mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, just because they have no outside touch to anyone outside of their academic careers, because they have no form of social lives, because they're so overwhelmed by this one test that they don't have time or the energy to even go outside of that. And so while they might get you into college, standardized tests cause much more harm than good, and that is just my personal opinion. But once again, I'm trying to persuade you to believe that, because these students should no longer be allowed to take these tests, or at least mandated, because if you really break it down, the harm that these kids endure instead of gain, it's very overwhelming at how much these kids are suffering from just having to take this one test once, maybe twice a year, just to try to get you into college. So I hope I've persuaded you to at least think about the effects that these tests have on your kids and you as a high school student after you graduated, I hope that it kind of made you reevaluate the tests as a whole, and maybe later down the road, whenever you maybe have kids, to kind of look at, like, take a step back and see if, like, just kind of see what stress that they're going through and see if you can relate to that in any way. So thank you guys so much. Bye.